Hello, my name's Joe from Maver UK. We're here at Maver Larford Lakes today with Callum Dix, ex-World Under-22 champion, and we're going to look at the whys and wherefores, rights and wrongs of margin fishing. Morning Callum, how are you?
Joe, yeah, good, thank you.
Was that the first drop in?
Yeah, first drop in, just a small fish to start off with, but hopefully it should get bigger and bigger.
Promising if nothing else. Yeah?
That's it, mate, yeah.
Now, margin fishing, again, everybody sits on the peg. At some stage during a match or pleasure fishing, they look down and there's great big fish swimming around your feet. Now, for some reason, some people catch a lot more fishing for them than others. Now, I'm assuming this boils down to your rigs, your setup, your feeding. So what I'd like you to do, Callum, is just talk us through how you would actually plan and prepare to do this type of fishing. Right,
to start off with, one of the most important things I think with margin fishing is that you use big, strong gear. As you know, the fish you catch in the margin will be a big sample fish. Probably the biggest way of fishing is to pick out your bigger fish. To start off with, the hook, I've picked a Maver MT3, which is a big, strong, spade-ended hook, perfect for your big fish. You're not going to get bent out. It's a real wide gape hook, so you can put big baits on.
Ideal pellets, corn, meat.
Yeah, meat, corn, worms. Worms especially is a very good bait down the edge, and it's big enough so you can put two on. You know, it's really strong.
Well, what size?
That's what I've started on a 16 today, but I mean you could go up to a 14 or even a 12.
Okay, so 16's a happy medium for
to start off with.
Baits.
Yeah, to start off with. Yeah. The line is actually 017 Maver Genesis, so it's really strong. I mean, it's really abrasive. I mean, you'll catch just as many fish on this as you will a lighter line because it's very abrasive and very invisible once it's in the water. So it's what is perfect really for down the edge when you're catching big fish. Okay,
and it's a very simple shotting pattern,
yeah? Well, I'm only fishing in shallow water when you're fishing in the margin, so I'm only using a very small float. So the very simple shotting pattern is one bulk, just spread out just a tiny little bit. It don't make it massively too much difference because you're only fishing in 18 inches to 2 foot of water. So your shotting pattern isn't massive. Your bait's going to be down on the bottom very quickly. Okay. Like I said, you're going to be fishing in shallow water when you're fishing in the margin. So the float I've picked today is a Maver Invincible Series 8 4x10. Okay. Perfect for fishing in that depth of water. It's got a thick carbon stem and a nice thick hollow bristle, which is perfect for fishing for big baits. The last thing you want is to be fishing with a big bait and a thin bristle. The weight of the bait will drag the float under. Okay. The elastic I'm using today is a Maver Hollow elastic. It's absolutely perfect for catching big fish. It's very forgiving.
And that's also a retro 1220.
Yeah, that's a retro 1220. Some of the new ones. It's perfect for fishing down the edge because your main fish are going to be big fish, like I said before. Okay. So it's very forgiving. So if you do hook a small fish, it is fine. If you hook a massive bait with fish, you're still fine. So it's quite good.
And the old adage is they don't count until they're in the net.
That's right. Yeah, you always got to try and land everything you hook. So it's very simple, Joe. Very strong. You want to get everything out that you hook. But that's one of the most important things is you don't want to be going down hooking great big fish and getting snapped up, getting your hook straightened out, or simply pulling out. Okay, and I notice on the top of your pole there you've got one of these kinder pots, yeah? Yeah, that's the handy kinder Maver.
So it's a little trickle, little and often, is it?
Yeah, sometimes it depends. It depends what venue you go to, what size fish you're fishing for. But if you're going to look to fish down the edge and look to stay down the edge and fish for long periods, the best way of feeding it is with a kinder pot, little and often. I mean, if you're looking to come down the edge and fish for half an hour, then go and do something else, maybe a bigger pot might be better. Right. But in this occasion, I'm going to be looking to fish down the edge, stay down the edge, and get into a bit of a routine. So a little kinder pot is usually the best. And
the bait today, as I say, I'm looking at your bait table. It's predominantly pellet, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
You're feeding what size pellets?
I'll probably be feeding a little bit of 4s and a few 6s down the edge. There's a couple of different sizes of pellets down the edge. Keep the fish in the peg longer. Right. But yeah, I mean, definitely the most popular bait on commercials nowadays is pellets. So if you stick with them, you can't go a million miles wrong. Like I said before, other baits are very good down the edge, worms, meat and corn. But today, the conditions are they are, pellets is my choice. And it's a soft hooker pellet on the hook, to start off with, I'm going to start off with a soft hooker pellet, see what I can catch, see if I can catch some small fish and the odd big one. But yeah, and then you can go on to hard pellets if you like, if you're getting lots of small fish and you want to try and pick out bigger fish. And you'd ban the hard pellets? Yeah, you would. You ban the hard pellets, even on a hair rig. I mean, you can still fish with a hair rig down the edge if you want to fish it off the bottom, that's not a problem. Okay. But to start off with, I'm going to start just dead depth on the bottom with a soft pellet. I'm just looking at that float, sorry Callum, the line, does a line go straight through the body? Yeah, that's correct, yeah. Like I said before, the last thing you want to be doing is catching big fish down the edge, losing them, and what tends to happen with floats nowadays is when you lose a fish, the eyes can pull out. So with these whole new range of Maver Invincible floats, you actually got a spring eye on them, which is very, very strong to start off with. Okay. But you also got a hole going through the body, which you actually slide the line through. Now that makes it virtually impossible for it to break. So it really does do what the name says, it's invincible. Mm. So the last thing you've got to worry about is your pole float breaking. Simplicity itself.
Now, now we both know, and obviously we're going to say this regardless, Maver do make the best poles in the world, but I noticed that what you're using today is not what I would perceive you to be normally using, Callum.
No, that's correct, yeah.
You've got there...
Yeah, that's the Maver Totality. It's 6.8 metres. I mean, like I said before, when you're fishing in the margins, length and strength is one of the most important things. You don't want to be fishing too far, and you don't want to be breaking up. So sometimes your top of the range poles aren't necessary. I mean, it's only 6.8 metres long, and it's very, very strong. Right. So it's absolutely perfect for fishing short ranges down the edge, and it won't break your bank account either. It's only $49.99.
No, that's all it retails.
Yeah, which is absolutely perfect.
So really, for youngsters, for people who don't do a lot of margin fishing, for quite frankly, people who don't want to fish that far out, it'd be ideal, wouldn't it?
Or even people that have got top of the range poles that don't want to risk breaking them when fishing for massive fish down the edge. You get one of these for fishing when you're fishing for massive big fish and big weights. It saves wearing out your big expensive poles.
Perfect solution. Well, Callum, that didn't take long.
No, seems to be getting a few fish in there now.
Obviously a carp.
Yeah, it looks like an F1 to be honest,
yeah. The elastic works nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, that 12 to 20 retro is really perfect for this type of fishing, Joe. Any size of fish you catch, it really compensates for it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they do go well, don't they?
Yeah, especially these edge fish. It will be a better stamp of fish. But as long as you keep the pole nice and low, let the elastic do the work and don't pull too much, you should get every fish out your hook, you know. You can decent hooks and...
Balanced tackle again, Callum,
that's the most important thing about it, Joe. Yeah. Most important thing is about this as well, you break down to the minimal amount of pole in your hand as possible. You don't want to be putting 4 or 5 sections up in the air and pulling.
No, it's something that you do see happening on a lot of lakes, isn't it? And unfortunately, we all know what the consequences eventually are. Yeah,
that's it. That's the most common way I see poles broke, is when people get 4 and 5 sections up in the air, pulling the pole miles back behind them. Yes. Way to play carp is to break down the minimum amount of pole in your hand. And just be nice and smooth and gentle with them. Like you can see there, it hasn't taken me too long to get
30 seconds, 45 seconds, Callum.
4 pound fish in.
Yeah,
that's the best way to build up weights in matches. You don't have to be quick, just have to be smooth.
Now I know we've all spoken about and we've all seen different elastic connections, whether they be puller bungs, whether they come out of the side or whatever. Now I notice you've got something here, Callum, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's brand new.
Seems to be a combination of things, this does, Callum.
Yeah, basically what that's been designed for is that most people now, like you've seen before in my other shots, is that I've got a power zone top kit, but if your budget won't allow you to spend that much on the top kit, or you don't want to drill a hole in your normal power kit to weaken it and chance breaking it, what actually Maver designed is a new piece of carbon, which is actually a parallel piece of carbon that fits straight up into the end of your top kit, and your number 4 fits straight on the end as before. But what it allows you to do, this parallel piece of carbon is very, very strong, and it allows you to drill a hole in there to have your elastic come in the outside. It eliminates any risk of damaging your normal power kits, and if you do drill a hole in it and the worst comes to the worst, it does snap, it's not as expensive as your normal.
Understood.
As your normal power kit.
And that fits straight into your power number 2 section.
Yeah, straight in. There's a parallel piece of carbon, so you don't have to make any difference to your power kit. You can always just put your number 4 straight on, and away you go, you're fishing.
Understood.
The other good thing is about it, at a later date, if you don't want the elastic coming out the side of your pole, you can take that out, cut your elastic, put your bung in, and you're fishing with your normal top kit again. Excellent. It really does give you lots of possibilities with your top kits.
Superb. Margin fishing, that's how to do it. We're going to leave Callum in peace now to carry on bagging down the margins. Should you require any further information, all the information is available. Follow the links at the end of the video.